appreciate y'all brothers tuning in. Even if you can't, join the GLG right now, I still appreciate you tuning in. So let's get into the show. I don't want to hold you any longer. So without further ado, I bring to you today's message. They don't love themselves, so they can't love no one else. This is why their love for you is worthless. It doesn't mean anything. Famo, salute, man. Good to see you in the joint, man. Good to see you in the joint. Three Kings, I saw you in the joint, man. Sean Daylight. They don't love themselves, so they can't love no one else. This is why their love is worthless. This is why we strive so hard not to function under the influence of love for people or love from people. Because their love is not God's love. See, once you experience God's love, do you understand that human love pales in comparison? It fails in more areas than it succeeds. It's a detriment to you more than it's a benefit. When you understand the love of the Most High and you learn how to engage with the Most High in a way where He reciprocates the love and affection and the dedication you give Him by applying His statutes and commandments and word to your life, then you understand that the love of a human being is such a fleeting thing. You get to a point in an existence where you don't need people's love. Like you really don't need people's love. And it's unorthodox for people because they feel like you should be functioning in the same emotionality that everyone else functions in, where they can do what they want to do to you, or they can say what they want to say to you, or they can treat you how they want to treat you. And you'll keep coming back for more, and you'll give them chance after chance after chance. But see, we don't value your love that much to be taking all these types of things. When you love God and yourself, you give people a one and done type of interaction. I respect you, so you got one time to disrespect me. I appreciate you, so you got one time to not appreciate me. I'm fair with you, so you got one time to be unfair with me. Brothers, I'll be honest with you. There are people who I've had, serious business relationships with that developed into personal relationships, even friendships, if you want to call it that. And they crossed me one time knowing that I was the best person they had ever been around, knowing that I was the most trustworthy person that they had ever been about, knowing that I was the most fair person that they have ever been around, knowing that I was the most considerate person they had ever been around, especially in certain environments. And those people are wondering why they haven't talked to me since that very day. Why haven't they spoken to me in 20 years? All they did was stab me in the back one time. All they did was try to take my kindness for weakness one time. All they did was try to get over on me one time. All they did was not give me what they know they owe me one time. That's all they did. Well, I'm going to leave them alone for 20 years? No, I ain't going to leave you alone for 20 years. I'm going to leave you alone for 100 years. If I leave here and God punch out to me, I still ain't going to mess with you in the afterlife either. You better come disguised as somebody else if you want me to deal with you. Because I know that even though self-love is the most basic form of adult love, most people you meet don't have it for themselves. I want you to look at all the people you see when you're out working, or you're going to work, or you're going to the gym, or you're in the gym, or at the grocery store, or you're just driving on the interstate in rush hour traffic. I want you to look. Here's what I want y'all to do, because I did this. I was over in Atlanta taking care of some business, man, and I picked my mom up, and we were going to eat. An evening, I guess we'll call it a late lunch, and people were getting off work, and I was just looking at the face of the people, and all these people getting off work, and all these people are stuck in this traffic, and all these people working these jobs they don't want to work, and going to these homes they don't want to have to afford, and these children that don't obey, and these spouses that don't appreciate them. And I didn't see one person that looked happy in all of those people. I saw one happily smiling woman. And she wasn't in the car. She had on her workout clothes, and she was walking on the sidewalk. So she was out in the world being free. The majority of people you know don't have love for themselves. Let's get into it. King Abraham, salute, brother. Information Man Show. Salute to you, my brother. I appreciate you coming through, man. That brother's got a phenomenal channel, man. Makes some phenomenal posts. I often share him sometime on the BOA channel. Y'all go support that brother, man. Phenomenal show he has over there, man. One of the shows that I very much tune into whenever I have time to consume content. Now, let's talk about this. Why is it that most people lack self-love? You got to understand, self-love is the most basic form of love. They don't love themselves, so they can't love no one else. But why don't they love themselves? So let me tell you something. Most people never got the basic love from their parents. The majority of people you know who are always doing all of these things and trying to buy their parents all of this and do all of this, they're doing it out of confusion and delusion, because they have excused their parents from bad parenting. Let me tell you something, brothers. You don't get excused from bad parenting because the child never asked to be here. So when you look out into the world and you see these people have been angry their entire lives. They've been dissatisfied with themselves their entire lives. They have never loved themselves. That is why they need to buy things and show things and post things and have things and always know things and always argue and always debate and always have to be the wisest and the smartest and the richest and the fittest and all of these things, because all of these external things are masks that they use to cover the fact that they don't love themselves, so they can't love no one else. There's a saying like SJ3 just said, hurt people hurt people. Look around you and look at all the people in pain, causing pain to other people, who then cause pain to other people, and so on and so forth, until everyone around you is looking like they're in immense pain all of the time. And you around here worrying about them loving you? No, man, the only love I need is the love of God. Now, if you want to love me and you're a human, I'll embrace it, I'll accept it. Being loved feels good. Loving somebody feels good. Anyone who denies that, you don't understand life. But yes, being loved feels good if they truly love you. The majority of times, they're telling you, well, relationships are supposed to be problematic. You're supposed to argue. You're supposed to debate. You're supposed to do all of these things. You're supposed to do them where? I ain't never got to debate with God. I ain't never got to argue with God. I ain't never got to be disrespected by God. I ain't never got to be told something crazy by God. I ain't never got to be told, well, I don't need you by God. I ain't never got to be told, well, it don't matter if you leave or stay by God. What are we talking about? Why would I accept something from a human that I would not even have to accept from God, when a human can't give me nothing? Every bit of sorrow and pain you have ever experienced came from a human being you were dealing with. Now, some of it was your fault. You got to know better. But every bit of heartache and pain you ever dealt with, every bit of trouble you ever got in, because you're dealing with some human being or listening to some human being or beings around some human being, every little bit of lies you ever been told came from a human being. God ain't never did none of that. Why? Because you don't have to build a relationship with God. You just have to enter into the relationship with God. You ain't got to build it. You just got to enter into it. If you enter into it and give it everything you got, you are guaranteed to get what you need back in return. But see, with a human, you can give them everything you got and get nothing in return. And they'll do it willingly and knowingly. Willingly and knowingly. See, bad parenting renders one incapable of self-love. If your parents didn't show you love, you don't know how to love yourself, anyone else. If your father showed you love, but your mother didn't, you have a better relationship with the men in your life than you do the women. If your mother showed you love, but your father didn't, you have a better relationship with the women in your life than you do the men. You will do more for the women. You will take more from the woman. You will do all of these things. You know why? Because there's an emotional imbalance. Most people you see just have an emotional imbalance. We talk about the chemical imbalance. We talk about the relationship dynamic. We talk about the job dynamic. But we don't talk about the emotional imbalance that people have, where you love one and you hate the other. You feel like you were loved by one and hated by the other. That is quite the mix-up. And that is why they don't love themselves, so they can't love no one else. You know what? I'll tell you something else, man. The number 2 reason that those people can't love you is their lack of personal satisfaction. See, when you don't love yourself, it's very hard to be satisfied with yourself. That's why you see people that seem like they have it all, and they still take themselves out of here. Why? Because there's a lack of personal satisfaction. See, personal satisfaction is something that's a part of your person. A part of your person. That's personal satisfaction. Your mentality, your physicality, your financiality, your emotionality, your spirituality, your reality. If you don't have any personal satisfaction, it's impossible for you to love someone else because you have given up on life. You find me someone with no personal satisfaction, brother, they have given up on life. They may seem to be reaping some financial benefits, but if you are living a life and the only benefits you get are financial benefits, you have a lack of personal satisfaction because you have dedicated your entire life to the pursuance of monetary gain. And so everything you do to satisfy yourself, pacify yourself, build yourself, will yourself, chill yourself, thrill yourself, they all come from your financial resources. What can you buy? Where can you go? What can you do? Who can you pay? Many people you see around you, they have lived a life of laziness. You see people who want more all the time. They always want more. They always want more. They always want more, but they never do more. They always need more. They always need more. They always need more, but they never heed more. Laziness leads to a severe lack of focus. And when you are lazy and lack focus, then you also have a lack of personal satisfaction. So when you meet someone who is totally dissatisfied with their plight in life, I would implore you to stay away from that person because that person can never do anything but draw away from your energy. They can never do anything but pull away from your happiness. They can never do anything but steal bits and pieces of your joy. They can never do anything except bring the energy from their life into yours and therefore cause your life to be in a position in a state of turmoil that you don't deserve, but you have invited it into your life. Why? Because you have sought the love of people, not knowing that they don't love themselves, so they can't love no one else. Let me tell you the greatest form of self-love. Somebody put it in the chat. Somebody tell me what the greatest show of self-love is. What is the greatest show of self-love? It's a very simple one, very simple thing. But the majority of people you see won't engage in it. They aren't involved in it. What is the greatest show of self-love? Fitness is a good one. Fitness is a good one. Fitness is a show of love. Fitness, health and wellness is definitely a show of love. A healthy body. Again, a healthy body. Brother Ant, healthy body. Peace, famo, peace. Yep, Pant, peace. Yeah, that's it, peace. Sean Daylight, doing what's pleasing to God. Yep, doing what's pleasing to God. That's pretty close. Markel, skincare, very well. Health and wellness, putting yourself first. That is phenomenal. That's phenomenal money, boy. Avery also says self-preservation, peace of mind. All of those are great shows of self-love. But let me tell you the greatest show of self-love of all. Dedicating yourself to helping others. Dedicating yourself to helping others is the greatest show of self-love. Now, somebody may ask why that is. Because self-love is based on understanding your connection to God and how His love is the strongest force that you could ever imagine. So when you become one with God's love, you don't even think about yourself because you know God already got you. Everything starts to be about what you can do for others because you start to feel a sense of peace, a sense of self-satisfaction where you're like, okay, well, I don't need to do that for myself no more. I feel so good. I'm so right now. God got me in such a good space. Let me see what I can do for everybody else. Let me see how I can help somebody. Let me see who need this gift that I got. Let me see who need these things that God's blessed me with. You stop doing everything for yourself and you start doing most of the things for everyone else. Because you know what? When you think about, oh, I need to do this for my, oh, well, God already got me right there. Oh, I need to do this for my, oh, man, well, God already put me in position right there. Oh, man, let me hurry up and do this. Oh, man, God already got that. Then you sit there twiddling your fingers and you know what? You start to look around you and see that the people around you aren't blessed with the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding that you have. And so you automatically become a servant of God. That is why God always says, help the poor and needy. That is why God always says, help the fatherless. That is why God always said, you shall not increase your gain by oppressing the fatherless and needy and the poor among your people, because God wants you to be in a Godhead space, in a godly sense of mind. And what's God do for you? He heals you. What does God do for you? He blesses you. What does God do for you? He protects you. What does God do for you? He uses his power to enhance you in your life. And now he has put you out into the world as a servant of his to do the same thing for the people that deserve it. That is the greatest show of self-love. So when you're around people and all they want to do is take, they don't love themselves, so they can't love no one else. When you're around people that don't appreciate anything anybody does for them, they don't love themselves, so they can't love no one else. When you see people that are always around hating on somebody, wishing somebody's downfall, happy when somebody's downfall, they don't love themselves, so they can't love no one else. When you see people that are lazy and lack of focus and don't have nothing going on because they got this woe is me mindset, they don't love themselves, so they can't love no one else. But you and I and the brothers in the kingdom, guess what we have found? We have found that when you bond yourself with the love of God, you don't need the love of humans. And you look out on humans and you look at them and you say, whoa, woe is me. Look at the lowly state of the people who aren't blessed enough to have an understanding of having this phenomenal relationship with the Most High. If you don't know God, all you know is death and destruction. You got two kind of people in the world. You got the people that know God, and you got the people that know death and destruction. That's it. There's no other. There's no in between. Either you know God or you know death and destruction. That's it. Now, death and destruction don't always look like, oh, woe is me, I can't feed myself. Sometimes death and destruction look like Diddy. Sometimes death and destruction look like R. Kelly. Sometimes death and destruction look like Jeffrey Epstein. Sometimes death and destruction look like Clive Davis. You understand? It don't always look, it don't always look pitiful. Because see, sometimes the bringer of death and destruction is just the bringer of death and destruction. The people that death and destruction touches, it affects them in short term more than it affects death and destruction. But at some point, if you don't know God, you got to pay the price. That's why you can't worry about people's love because it's so fleeting. You ain't got time to worry about whether it's real or it's fake. You got to know your place, what you need to be doing, and you got to stay right there in that lane, right there in that bracket, man. Because if you fall out that bracket, you ain't going to be able to hack it. God got something for you. And what he got for you is love, which then turns into self-love, which means you don't care about the fact that they don't love themselves, so they can't love no one else because you don't even need their love. Man, some people just have familial curses. Some people's families are cursed from generation to generation. You look at their family done struggled and been through everything for generation after generation. Ain't that never good happened to their family. Anytime something good happened, bad follow it real quick. Anytime they get up, something knock them down. Every time they think they're getting up, something tell them, no, you ain't. They can rise to the epitome of whatever industry, and within 6 months, they down. Family just on a roller coaster ride. So there is a such thing as dealing with someone that you should stay away from because nothing is ever going to come good to their family. At least not while they're alive or while you're alive either. Now, let's talk about some of the ways you get caught up with people that don't love themselves. And all people can do when they don't love themselves is take your love for granted and drain every little bit of positive energy you got out of your life, man. Let me tell you something. We often talk about the men who are in these marriages and they end up going bad and they end up losing everything. Or we talk about these women who are in these marriages with these guys they should have never married before and they go all down through there and they end up being, single mothers in the end. They got 3 or 4 children, but all by their husband and he still ain't helping them and they in the same shape as the woman who has 3 or 4 children by 4 different husbands. You understand? So you got to understand, you can't overlook how the love and affection you give someone goes unreciprocated. The very moment you show someone affection and it's not reciprocated, the very moment you show someone love and it's not reciprocated, the very moment you show someone consideration and it's not reciprocated, the very moment you show someone fairness and it's not reciprocated, the very moment you show someone respect and it's not reciprocated, you had better understand that that is a person who will never be able to give you any love, and whatever that is you think they're giving that is love, you've been fooled, you've been bamboozled, you've been hoodwinked, you've been led astray, you've been run amok because they don't love themselves, so they can't love no one else. They don't love themselves, so they can't love no one else. It's not even that they don't want to, they can't. Man, you got people who don't even believe that love exists. Don't you know if you don't believe love exists, you'll never believe that God loves you? You'll never believe it. Those are the people you hear say, man, there ain't no God. because they don't even believe that the amount of love that God shows is possible. They don't think it's out there. They think, why am I believing God and his love when I don't even believe in love? They don't love themselves, so they can't love no one else. Brothers, I'm telling you, you have to avoid these type of people, because here's the thing. You got to make sure that your need to love the unloved is not your downfall. See, man, let me tell y'all something. As a man of God, it's so easy to see someone that's just in need of love. And when I say love, I don't mean, don't leave me. No, I mean love, like the human love, the love of humanity. Someone just needs to know that someone loves them. See, you can't get caught up in your need to love the unloved, because a bunch of times the unloved is never going to be able to reciprocate love. You got to accept that. You know, we always say anybody can love or anything is possible. It's impossible for the lifelong unloved to suddenly understand and want to receive and give love. They can't do it. I want you to understand how much of a blessing it is, man, for you to be able to understand God's love, for you to be able to understand loving yourself. Don't you understand that's a blessing? Everybody can't do it. There's people that's in their 20s right now, ain't gonna never love themselves. There's people right now that's in their teens, ain't gonna never love themselves. There's a kid somewhere right now. Let me tell y'all something. There's a story of a young woman walked into a Walmart back when it was cold last week, had a baby with her about 4 or 5 years old. Now, couldn't have been 4 or 5, had to be younger than that, because the baby had on nothing but a pamper. Maybe 3 years old, had on a pamper, a pull-up or something like that. It was cold, man. People had on boots and jackets and scarves, and she walked into Walmart with this baby with nothing. I'm talking about, listen, brother, when I say nothing on, I'm talking about no shoes or nothing. A pamper, a pull-up, man. That kid ain't gonna never love himself. That kid needs to be rescued right now. If it don't happen right now, it's done. Man, listen, there are people out here. If you meet 10 people, 8 of those people don't love themselves. So they can't love no one else, man. They can't love no one else. You got to understand, brothers. You got to understand that it's not your job to love the unloved. And if you ain't trying to love the unloved, you're trying to heal the unhealed. Who are you? A soothsayer? What are you, a witch doctor? You can't heal the unhealed. You meet someone in their 20s and 30s and they ain't healed yet, they ain't gonna never be healed. Never. They gonna be a healing in process. But you know the problem with healing in progress? Here's the thing about healing in progress. I know I said healing in process before, but I mean healing in progress. Here's the thing about healing in progress. All the things that afflicted you and caused you to view the world from the wrong perspective, you're going to take those things with you every day. So as you're healing, you are still going to be destroying. And so it's going to be a continual cycle of healing going on. Let me tell you something, brothers. It is a gift from God to not need to be healed, to live freely the way you want to live, to deal with people the way you want to deal with them freely, because you know that you love yourself more than anyone's love could ever mean to you. Anyone's love. And you don't feel overcome by your need to feel needed by needy people. Let me tell you something, brothers. There's a thin line between somebody needing you and someone just being needy. Someone who's needy needs anyone at any time. It doesn't matter who. If you just happen to be the one, yes, you'll feel like you're being needy, you're being needed, but you're just the one who is right there in the space. Because if someone else comes along, a needy person will just need everybody. And you got to understand that. So never be pushed or even pulled or motivated by your need to feel needed. Not by humans. Why? Because God needs you. God needs you to do the mission he put you here to do. See, I ain't got to be loved by no human. I ain't got to be needed by no human. I ain't got to be desired by no human. I ain't got to, none of that, brothers. I ain't got to be liked by no human. Why? Because God gives me all of those things. God desires me to be in this position that he put me in to do this mission. God loves me because I decided to do this mission, and he loved me before that, but he loved me more now. God appreciates me for being one of the few who accepts the duty, who accepts the responsibility, who accepts the call of the Lord for me to live my life a certain way and present a certain thing to the world so that I can be on this mission. I don't need that from a human. Once God gives it to me, I can't give it to nobody else. That's another one, famo. You got to stop trusting people. Man, when you expect somebody to love you unconditionally or to love you without flaw or to love you, period, you are trusting that person to always be who they are at this particular moment. And let me tell you something. It takes a well-made up mind. It takes a man who has dedicated himself to the ways of God and separated himself from ever being guided by his emotionality to be the same way every day, every night, and every afternoon. Most people don't have that capacity. Most people can't do that. Most people don't even understand that. Most people go with the wind of their emotionality. I feel good today. I feel bad today. I'm kind of in the middle today. Oh, I want to end it all today. God is so good today. Oh, man, where is everybody today? Don't nobody love me today. Oh, I feel so loved today. All of that emotionality, man, you ain't got time to trust that. But let me tell you somebody love who would never waver. Man, let me tell y'all something, brothers. I've been in this world for a long time. Took the vow to Nazarite. I was on the vow to Nazarite between the ages of 21 to 23. So it's been so long. Now maybe, yeah, maybe it was 22 to 25. Yeah, it was 22 to 25. 22 and a half to 25. So about 2.5 years. When you really think about it, brothers, God has never switched up on me. Not once. When I say God has never switched up on me, not once. I'm talking about if he say I'm going to do this to you if you do bad, he going to do it. If I say I'm going to do this to you when you do good, he going to do it. God has never switched up on me, brother. Ever. So I'm not relying on nobody else's love. I can't trust it. I'm not relying on nobody else's like. I don't trust it. I'm not relying on nobody else's respect. I don't trust it. I'm not relying on nobody else anything because I don't trust it. It can't be relied on because they don't love themselves, so they can't love no one else. When you hear people saying, well, I'm in a relationship, I'll love you, but I don't like you. What you mean you love them, but you don't like them? If you don't like them, you don't love them either. Who goes around loving things they don't like? I don't like to eat chitlins, but I show love to smell you cook them. I don't like to smoke cigarettes, but boy, you can show puff on them around me. I don't like them, but I love you to puff them in my face. Come on, bro. Who does that? None of us do. None of us do. We don't function that way. And so here's something we got to understand, man. Some people are just evil. Their grandparents were evil. Their great grandparents were evil. Their parents were evil. Some people are just evil. Some people come here. They are born to be evil, but they're humans. So they still know how to function in the human way. They still know how to function with the human pathologies. They still know, how to have human functionality emotionally, mentally, spiritually, physically, financially. They still know these things. And so they fit right in, even though they're imminent evil down to the core. And so you mean to tell me you're going to trust that kind of love? You're going to trust the love of those people? You're going to even think about the love of those people? Who cares about the love of those people? Those people don't have no love. They don't have no love. All right, so look, man, if you want to stay around for the rest of this show and be involved in the live chat, go to the main channel page, King Ray channel right now, because we're about to go incognito in 3, 2, and 1. Go to the main channel page. Next to the subscribe button, you'll see a join button. Click that join button. Go into the kiosk, follow the prompts, and come on back. We'll still be here. See, you have to stop giving people a chance to change at your expense. Yes, everybody can change. If you want to say everybody can change, okay, everybody can change. But you can't change on my watch. You can't change on my time. You can't change on my dime. You can't change on my mind. You can't change on my grind. Yes, you can change, but I will not give you the chance to change at my expense. I won't do it. Because I frankly don't care if you change or not. I'm not investing my time, effort, and energy into you changing. You should have been changed before you met me. I didn't come into this world to be no. Let me tell you something. I do believe it's time to make a change. For once in your life, you got to start with the man in the mirror. And I ain't in that mirror with you when you're in the bathroom fresh, get out of the shower with the towel wrapped around you. You got to stop thinking that it's your job to give people a chance to change at your expense. You're going to waste some of your life giving somebody a chance to change. And then the crazy thing is, what you got to understand is when people change, they don't appreciate the people who saw them through the change. Let me tell you what change does to somebody's life, so you won't be a fool out there thinking that you can change, you can let someone change at your expense, and then you're going to get that best version of them. Let me tell you something. When people change, they view the world differently. So everything they viewed before changes. So where they may appreciate you for helping them change, they're not going to appreciate your part in the process of the progress because they're the one that's going through it. When someone is going through it, you only have so much memory space to recollect things, and they're going to recount the things that they went through, the struggle of it. They're not going to remember the step-by-step things that you helped them with. So it's not even worth it to let someone change at your expense. Let me tell you something, brothers. If maybe the kids create programs, create school programs, create educational programs for the kids, but we ain't talking about the kids. We talking about the grown folks. And let me tell you something. I ain't letting nobody change at my expense. I don't have it in me. God didn't put it in me. God don't want it in me. You know, when you do this, you're kind of like a sin guinea pig. You know what I'm saying? You're kind of like a guinea pig for other people's sin. You let them try it out and see if they can do better. You let them try it out to see, if they can resist temptation. You let them try it out to see, if they can stop abusing things. You let them try it out to see, if they can be a better person. You let them try it out and see, if they can stop being abused. You let them try all of these things out. But when it boils down, why would you be a sin guinea pig? I ain't nobody's guinea pig for nothing. So you gonna let somebody try to wean themselves off sin at your expenses? Well, you got to deal with the consequences, repercussions of their sinful actions. They still won't love you because they don't love themselves. So they can't love no one else. I'm telling you what I know. People who don't love themselves cannot love anyone else. Y'all know I'm being real about it. Y'all know I'm being real about it. You have to understand that some people are just destined to be who they are. Like they're gonna just keep being who they are until they crash and burn. Some people are gonna go and get 4 life sentences. Some people are gonna end up paraplegic. Some people are going to end up, in a grave. Some people are just going to end up that way because they're never going to stop living their lives that way. Some people are just going to be that until the consequences of their actions become them not being here. At the very least, not being here in a capacity where they continue to cause that harm on people. Let me tell y'all something, man. The things you do to people to bring them harm is a direct indicator. Is a direct indicator of how much you hate yourself. If you do hateful things to other people, it's because you don't love yourself. If you are jealous of other people, it's because you don't love yourself. Man, I can't be jealous of anybody. I can't be jealous of anybody. I am King Ray Ray. Do you understand what that means? I am King Ray Ray, the educated thug. That is me. I am the best of both worlds. I am King Ray Ray. And then when I really want to jump clean, I am Dr. BOA. I I can't be jealous of somebody else, because for me to be jealous of you, that means I gotta want to be you and not me. And I ain't met a person yet where I look at them and say, I wish I was them and not me. Boy, I'm so blessed to be me. I'm blessed to know God. I'm blessed to love God and love myself. Cause let me tell you something. Let me tell you what's real. If you don't put God first, if you don't love God, you won't get the thrill of God reminding you that you're first. Man, God reminds me every day that I'm first. He reminds, son, it's okay for you to put yourself before these people now. You're the one came to me, they didn't. You're the one created this bond with me. You're the one, where they was at, what they were doing on the Sabbath day, what they were doing. What on the 4th of July, what they were doing. When they eating that swine, what they were doing. Yeah, that's what they were doing. When they at the seafood bar? Yeah, they was at seafood bar eating all that stuff. What you doing? Wasn't them 2 people right there married to somebody else, and then they were cheating on their spouse, and now they together? Come on, you can put yourself first. I want you to put. God get mad at me when I don't put myself first. My life starts to get wild when I don't put myself before everybody else. Y'all don't understand me. My life starts to be affected negatively when I don't put myself before everybody else. Man, there ain't but two people in this world I can trust. There's only two people in this world I can trust. That's God and me. And if we can get to a certain point, certain circumstances, I might not even be able to trust me anymore. But I know for a fact I can trust the Most High through and through, tried and true. And for me, that's enough for me to never need the love of somebody who can't even love themselves. I want you to think about someone who says, I want you to make me happy. I just want to find somebody to make me happy. Let me tell you something. You want somebody to make you happy? Come on, let me introduce you to God. You want somebody to bring you joy? Come on, let me introduce you to God. You want somebody to make everything all right? Come on, let me introduce you to God. You want somebody to let you do, hey, listen, whatever you want, let me introduce you to God. Because that's where I got it all from. You got to stop accepting less than you deserve. You got to stop that. Most of the times when you caught up in a situation with somebody who can't show you any love, who can't show you any appreciation, who can't show you any affection, who interfere with your own self-protection, most of the time when you're dealing with those people, it's because you are willing to accept less than you should accept. Man, let me tell you something, brothers. And man, listen, I help people. You understand? I help people. That's what I do. I'm blessed. I help people. So there's nobody in my life who can't say their life isn't better because I'm in it. I help people. I'm not going to be a fool, but yes, man, I help people. Everybody's not as blessed as me. And so whenever I can do something to help somebody that really deserves it, be in a position that they can handle it from, I do that. You know what I'm saying? I do that. So, and I just know that that blessing, the way that people view you when you help them is the way that I view God. I'm not saying they look at me as God, but they look at me as someone they look at me as someone that God used in their lives. They know that I'm someone that God used in their lives. And that's my only mission, brothers. I am not going to accept less than I deserve because I work for God. If God gives me just reward, why would I accept anything less from you? I get it. Maybe you ain't in a position to give me just rewards, but if you ain't in a position to give me just rewards, then I don't need to be around you. And I'm by just rewards, I don't mean any of the things that God gives me. I mean these things: respect, appreciation, dedication, loyalty. I expect those things. See, you got to get to the point where you don't over empathize, especially the hardest people to not go to bat for are people who are going through the things that you've gone through. That is why so many men get out of the inner city environment and they end up losing their lives or losing their wealth or losing their freedom by trying to stay in that environment. No, the goal is not to stay in that environment. The goal has always been able to been to get out of that environment. And you always know you don't go into that environment to help that environment. All the help from that environment comes from the outside in ways that the people inside can't control. See, if you go into an environment, the people who run the environment ultimately have control of anything you do in there. They can run interference, they can block you out, they can let you in, they can try to take advantage. But when you think about it, if you want to help that environment, you help it from the outside. You create something outside that the people inside can't control. That way, if you want to help those kids, you have a program that helps those kids that the adults in that environment can't take advantage of. You got to know what you got to do in order to be who you want to be in this world. And so you can't over empathize to the point of self-harm. Man, well, I know what they're going through. I've been through it too, man. I know what they're going through, man. It's rough over there. Yeah, you're right. It is rough over there. But what's your mission for God? Did God tell you to do that? What did God tell you to do? What is God leading you to do? Help me understand. You end up trying to help everybody instead of just helping the people who deserve to be helped. I'm not telling you not to help people. I'm saying God did not put you here to help everybody. He did not put you here to be a savior. He put you here, if you're going to help people, help those who deserve it. And those who deserve it are the ones that God is leading you to help. And let me tell you something, boy, God ain't never sent no man to no environment and say, help everybody in there. You can only help the people that want the help, the people that understand they need the help. One of the greatest issues that we have is we find ourselves accepting responsibility of fixing people's lives. My name is not Ayan Van Zandt. My name ain't Gail King. My name ain't Dr. Phil. It's none of those things. And my name most certainly is not Steve Harvey. I am not here to fix people's lives. I am here to do my mission for the Most High. Now, if on that mission, you get some things that help you fix your life, all blessings to you. May the Most High continue to bless you. But my sole purpose here is not to accept the responsibility of fixing people's lives. I don't want that responsibility. It's not for me. I don't want it. I don't appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? I don't enjoy it. None of that. So you got to stop that because that'll put you in a situation where you're expecting love. Man, if if I'm gonna help somebody, I expect appreciation. I expect appreciation. If you can't give appreciation, then my help was not meant for you. I dropped the ball on who I was helping. I should have been helping somebody else, not you. Golden child, salute. Let me tell you something. You got to put God first. Because if you don't, you're gonna be lost. You're gonna be lost in the sauce, man. You have to put God first. When you step into this spiritual realm, you don't know where you're going. So you got to follow the leader. And the leader of this spiritual realm is the Most High. You got to follow what he tells you to do. You got to follow the statutes and commandments. See, here's the thing. God will not resonate with you if you don't follow the statutes and commandments because he don't trust you to listen. If you can't look at these simple things and fix these little simple things, he's not going to lead you anywhere because you won't even listen to the simple thing. You gotta make yourself clean before God is going to show up on the scene. I'm telling you, he'll be there. He's there. He always there. But before he takes you and leads you in a direction, you got to dust yourself off, clean yourself up. That's why you got to go to the word first. And when you put God first, he going to always put you first above the people. It's going to always put, man, listen, bro, there is no greater thrill than knowing that God got me. No greater thrill than knowing God got me, man. I look at things sometimes, man. I see people going through things, man. I just had to bow my head, man. I just had to thank God for the fact that the things I have in my life are things that work in my life. You know, like, man, listen, I don't have to have a $10 million mansion. I don't have to have none of that, man. I'm not trying to impress anybody. You know, I don't need anything to impress anybody. I'm not trying to have 15 cars in the yard. Hey, I only drive one car at a time, man. So the most I'll need is two. I'm from the old school. You got your little sports car, you got your SUV, and you got your toy. You got a bike or a boat. That's all you got. Then your wife may have one car, and she may have a little toy to ride too. Where you get in there with her in the little Boxster or something, y'all ride around. But then all the kids got to have a car. So even if you only got those two vehicles, man, you may end up having 6 cars in the yard. You know what I mean? So none of those things matter. I just want to do what God put me here to do, bro. I just want to live the life that God put me here to live, man. I just want to know that they don't love themselves, so they can't love no one else. So I won't waste my time on them. So let's talk, man. Let's do a quick recap here. They don't love themselves, so they can't love no one else. Their love is worthless. Why you should never count on the love of people. Number one, self-love is the most basic form of adult love, but based on childhood love from their parents or lack thereof, most adults don't have it. So they can't love themselves because they never learned, they can't love anyone else because they never learned to love themselves. Bad parenting, almost 100% of the time, renders one incapable of self-love. Because until you have been loved to the fullest from the people who are supposed to love you, or you have been rescued by God because you're one of his chosen, to do a mission, you will never have enough love within yourself in order to develop this self-love that's the basic form of adult love. That's why, most of us, who have immense self-love, a lot of that was built by a relationship with God. Yes, some of us built by a relationship with parents, but a lot of us built your relationship with God, man. Number two, they have lack of personal satisfaction, laziness, lack of focus, familial curses. Those are things that lead people to not achieve what they want to achieve in life. So if you see somebody who's You see somebody who's 35, they don't have no degree, they don't have no high school diploma, man, they don't even have no GED. They don't have nothing but they're 35. That's a person that's gonna lack personal satisfaction. Unless they've been in the streets and they got a boatload of money, that's different. But I mean, somebody who looks like who's suffering the consequences of not doing all of those things because there was no other way. No, they didn't. They didn't get a nest egg out of some other endeavor. Number three, when you find yourself tied to these type of people, it's because you overlook how the love you give is unreciprocated. Your need to love the unloved or heal the unhealed leads you to not worry about what they're giving back because you just want to give, 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 give. But anybody who give and never get anything in return is a fool. Why you think God ain't just gonna give, 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 give? He said you live by these laws right here. I give, 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 give. You don't live by these laws, I ain't gonna give you nothing. All you're gonna have is that trouble over there. If God don't do it, who am I to do it? I know I can't do it if God can't. I don't know how to do it. He ain't never showed me. So your need to feel needed will put you in the cross. Number four, some people are just evil. You give people a chance to change at your own expense. That's just putting you behind the eight ball. That's making it seem like you don't even care about yourself. That's what that's making it seem like. You're like a sin guinea pig. You're like a guinea pig for other people saying, hey, bring the guinea pig in here. Let's try this sin on him. Let's see if he'll forgive us for this. Let's see if she'll forgive us for this. Number five, you accept less than you should when you get caught up with these type of people. You should have never been dealing with these people in the first place. How you get caught up in something and like this, man, and you never should have been dealing with the person in the first place. You got to stop over empathizing to the point of self-harm. You empathize with people plight, you know what they've been through, and so you just let them take advantage of it. Well, it ain't their fault. They've been through this and blah, blah. Man, listen, it is their fault. They know better. They know better. You got to stop accepting the responsibility of fixing people's lives. Their life messed up. Okay, let me give them some money. They can't pay their bills. Okay, let me give them some money. Okay, they can't do this. Okay, let me take care of that. Okay, they can't get their child back and forth. Let me take care of that. Nope. You don't have it. You can't do it, man. You can't do it. And finally, you got to put God first. Because only when you put God first will you be constantly reminded that you come first. That way you don't let nobody take you for granted. You don't let nobody take advantage of you. You don't let nobody underappreciate you. You don't let nobody serve you, some foolishness when you serving them 5-course meal. You don't let nobody do that to you. You do the thing that God put you here to do. And what God put you here to do is love yourself, love God, take care of your familiar responsibilities. Don't get caught up in no temptation. Live a life that's pleasing to God. And that's what we're going to do. That's what we got to do. Codeine, salute, brother. Appreciate the Fit the Bone sponsorship of the show. Hey, King Ray. 3 years ago, your words inspired me to stop smoking cigarettes. The stream about putting God first hit deep and encouraged me to stop pee, drinking, and green cold turkey. Blessings are coming tenfold already. I'm grateful for your words. 100. Salute to you, brother. Salute to you, man. Listen, those stories right there, man, that's a brother who said, you know what? I'm going to love myself. You know what I'm saying? Put God first. As the moment you put God first, your life will start to change. By putting him first, I mean you put him first. You look at what he say don't do, and you don't do it. When people say, man, how I'm going to stop? If you can't stop, you just weak. Once you put God first, he gives you the strength you need to stop. If you ain't stopping at that point, you ain't going to stop because you don't want to stop. I'm telling you. From my experience, from other brothers' experience, the moment you truly dedicate yourself to the ways of God, man, and becoming a godly man, those temptations, they become weak things. You can't even believe you was doing that. You're like, man, why was I acting like I couldn't stop? Because you didn't want to stop. Just like now, you find God, you can't stop because you don't want to stop. All you got to do is not do it. Don't tell me that man wife is calling you and you got to get up, get dressed, sneak out the house with your own wife, make up somewhere you got to go. Then you got to be able to find somewhere to go or book a hotel or if you got to have some other spot. You mean to tell me you got to do all that, all the more steps you have to do, the more you just wanted to do that thing, man. So stop misbehaving like that and talking about, I can't do it, man. I don't know how I'm gonna do it, man. As Markel said, alpha rule number 3, always follow God. Y'all know what it is. All right, man, let's get ready to slide on out of here, man. Look, y'all put God first. Keep grinding and growing and always knowing. If you keep praying and you keep doing, God gonna keep showing up in your life.